Welcome at our 16th episode of Podcasters. Today with Barend Jungerius. Barend, welcome.
Hi, Doran. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for being here. Of course, this is in a weekend on a morning, so we're not working and yet we're working.
Yes, that's
Tell
life.
our listeners and viewers who you are, what do you do, and then later on I'll explain why you're on the podcast.
Cool. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I fell in love with bots in 2018. Um, my background lays more in business intelligence, working with lots of data and stuff for enterprises. Later on, I made a pivot to web development and some entrepreneurial adventures. But yeah, for me, web development was too complicated or cumbersome with all these different screen sizes, CSS, all that stuff. And yeah, then I was triggered again by bots, by something on LinkedIn probably, and I just decided to build something on a morning. And
So you wake
yeah,
up one morning
before
and say, let's build a bot.
let's make up a use case. It was I came up with a tattoo shop because I was
Okay.
talking with the tattoo shop owner about this website, and I thought let's make like a bot that helps you pick the right artist. You know, so you pick your favorite style by blind choosing some of their work.
Okay.
And yeah, before lunch, I knew, okay, this is what I will be doing the next decade at least. So it was a very strong feeling. Yeah,
So then so from 2018 you specialized in bots.
yeah. But looking back, I was born in '75, and in the '80s, I fell in love already with science fiction, Star Wars, Buck Rogers, Battlestar Galactica, all that stuff,
Yeah.
and also did some coding. So decades later, it all made sense to
It all
combine
came
stuff.
together.
And yeah, exactly.
And at some point you added beers to the bots. So how did that happen?
Well, yeah, beers.
We have to explain for the listeners and viewers. Um, on December 8th, there is a beers and bots meetup in
Exactly.
Amsterdam,
Yeah.
and it's from the Botpreneur Network, if I'm saying this correctly. And
Yes.
it's a get together of like-minded people who are working in the same field, and it's exactly what it is. It's beers and bots. Let's talk bot and
True. Yeah. Yeah.
have a beer.
It's a
So
nice alliteration, of course.
yeah, but you
Um,
started. You went from building bots and conceptualizing bots, etc., to to a network, and I wondered. I ended up in this network as well. Um,
yeah.
but somehow you decided at some point, okay, we need a network, and it's an international network, which is good, in this developing field. What happened, or who did you meet? Why did you do it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's indeed the story of several steps, as most things are. Um, so I was new in this industry, and I thought, okay, let's just mass invite second degree connections on LinkedIn. So people who already were in the field of chatbots, 2018. So I just started on my mobile, ticking, ticking, ticking. I don't send invite messages. I just selected
Link.
people with a profile picture and yeah, the right work descriptions. And while I was tapping, I already got direct messages from people who said, "Hey, Baron, cool, you're also in this business. Let's have a maybe Skype was still a thing back then. Let's have a call, or
Was it
some."
about exchanging knowledge?
Yeah, so also Botspot, for example, some guys in Amsterdam who had already a startup. They invited me to their office, so I thought, okay, this is a very open community, and people are willing to help and share. So that's great. And so, yeah, the connections were growing, but I thought I have no content. I need content, and I know that. Yeah, I like writing articles or poems, for Sinterklaas, but it can take quite some time if you want to do some research and stuff. So I thought, let's interview people who, yeah, respond proactively or might be interesting. And then yeah, I used transcription software to add subtitles, or not even subtitles, just publish the transcripts, so without any video footage. And yeah, I did it for a couple of months or so, and then Chet Oda from the States, he contacted me, one of my new contacts. He said, "Yeah, you and Jim Robot or Jim Rowe from the UK and me,
Jim
we are
Robot.
basically yeah, Jim Rowe, the only three guys who are pushing content out there. Why not combine forces?" And of course, yeah, Facebook Messenger was where it all happened back then. So we decided to create a Facebook group and came up with the name Botpreneurs. And the main content strategy was doing live interviews with people. So yeah, with video and all that is to it. So people asking questions in real time and answering them really vivid. So
It's
that's
like a
cool.
webinar type of way of
Yeah,
doing
but
things.
yeah, but webinars always have a more commercial
No, I
feel
understand, but if
to the
people
name.
can
But
ask questions, but then it's
yeah,
more like
exactly.
a webinar. It's
Yeah,
more
yeah,
interactive.
yeah, yeah. So we of course we prepared questions, but when the crowd gives the questions, it's more fun. And yeah, so we grew that, and
So, how many
yeah.
members do you have right now worldwide?
Well, the Facebook group is kind of dead. It kind of
Well,
died, and
that goes
LinkedIn
with
took over.
Facebook, right?
Yeah, yeah. I still give them a shot for the future, but with the metaverse and stuff. But maybe we can talk about it later. But yeah, like 1,500 people or something joined. I'm not good with numbers, but I always look things up. But anyway, yeah. Meanwhile, I saw all these platforms offering software to build bots. So I thought, let's
Yeah.
make a list of that because I had to start somewhere. And I knew I wanted to return uh, the enterprise world as a freelance contractor. So I also contacted software companies focused on that. Yeah, and then I came in touch with Cognigy. Um, yeah, I'm still a friend of the family, so to say.
In what
Um,
sense?
well, yeah, Philip Heltwig was so enthusiastic, the
About
CEO.
the network.
Yeah, also yeah, and also about me. I wanted to get to know the software, so he said, "Come to Düsseldorf and do a training. You can follow a class with other people, get a certificate." But of course, the timing has to be right. So I was a bit early with my cognitive knowledge, especially in the Netherlands. But years later, it paid off. Yeah, now I'm on my
So you're a
second long term.
Cognigy fan?
Yeah, cognitive fan. I believe in the low code approach. Yeah,
Why? Because that's interesting. We haven't talked much about it. This
I
in the
still have to come
podcast.
back to the beers though. But
Yeah, no, we'll get to the best, but yeah, you're saying this. There's of course a difference between no code, low code, and code. I
yeah,
hear more and more people saying, okay, we need to go towards low code or no code in order for the innovation speed or the speed at which we adapt the bots and improve them
yeah,
goes up. So we now we have a learning curve in the beginning. It's steep, and then especially if you code, then sort of flats out because it takes a lot of budget and time and resources, and usually there's a limitation on that, and
exactly.
also the patience in the organization. But with the no code and low code, you see that the pace of changes goes up.
Yeah,
Is that the reason why you like low code? Because you're faster in your innovation process.
yeah. Of course, those are fits me better. I did some coding, but I'm not a developer. That's how I explain to people. I know HTML and PHP, and yeah, I built a website builder that would spit out a website based on a Facebook page URL in less than a minute. So with APIs and stuff, but um, yeah, if we are, yeah, back then especially, we were trying to push something new into the world, right? And so people had to come from other departments, and in my opinion, you don't want to make this an IT party because
No.
you need different kind of people. It's a different kind of ball game. And yeah, looking at my focus area, so I don't think an enterprise will uh, be happy with no code for a long time because they will run out of options. But yeah, low code is where the future is, and yeah, also Microsoft and other big players are moving in that direction. Um, yeah, although Rasa, for example, is also doing awesome work, and they are helping empowering those IT parties to scale and yeah do stuff rapidly also via their community. But yeah, low code certainly fits me well, and
And your
yeah,
customers apparently also. Otherwise, you wouldn't have anything to do.
exactly, yeah, and yeah, so people who maybe were working in the content management area, well, they might pivot to chatbots, but you don't want to let them code the conversation. It makes absolutely no sense. So, indeed,
No,
to
it's a
gain
waste of
traction and
talent.
speed, yeah, also. So, and yeah, still, current project and each project, we had developers and we need them. So, yeah,
Now back to
there's
the
always
sorry.
code, but yeah,
There's always, of
no,
course, there's always code and connections, especially if you start in the front and you go from just a conversation to processes in the back end, which I think has the future that you start in a conversation and you can handle processes, uh, STP or otherwise, to backend software. You do need developers
yeah,
on
exactly,
both ends. I understand, but it's not as much. If there's good APIs, it's not as much as it used to be. It's much better.
correct. Yeah, yeah,
And there's also a shortage in developers. So if you want to get ahead, we need to be able to work our way through this with as little or as involvement of developers as possible. But we know at some point you need them. But back to the beers, because you started with bots, you started botpreneurs, you started with interviews, and all of a sudden you thought,
yeah.
okay, there's a need for a live event, or you also have, of course, the offline events, with which is really fun to be in.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it that where it started?
So we were getting traction, and then Corona happened, um, and that gave an influx to yeah, like webinars or online stuff you could follow. Sometimes more than one thing on the very same hour. You could literally choose. But uh, well, seeing a couple of those things, I thought, yeah, it's all sending. One or two people are broadcasting their story. There's no interaction. Maybe there's a short Q&A on the end at the end, but then what happens is that yeah, the one or two extroverts in the room will raise their hand and ask a question, and that's it. So for me, that's no networking, and that's what was lacking, in my opinion, during the pandemic. Um, because when I go to a IRL conference, yeah, that's the most fun part, and for me, where the magic happens.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for all those speakers, but it's more likely for me that magic
about the
happens.
networking. It's about
Yeah,
the networking.
so exactly, it's about connection. So I went online looking for a platform that could mimic this networking elements virtually. So yeah, I ran into spatial.chat. So it's not spatial. That's more like a metaverse startup. So this is like a 2D environment, which is where you can drag yourself and you can switch on your webcam. It appears in a small circle. You've been a couple of times, and then uh, yeah, if you are close enough to each other, you can hear each other like in real life. So
It's
there
like a
are groups,
regular, exactly.
yeah, yeah. So groups start to form, and several conversations happen, and yeah. So I tested the concept on my LinkedIn audience, which was yeah, pretty big back then because I just kept on mass inviting people, and they were so enthusiastic. So I thought, okay, let's do this. So the first one was in I think November, yeah, November last year, and I almost did them monthly with a short summer break, and
And the
yeah, and
audience grew.
oh, yeah, and I saw a lot of people coming back and started talking about it on LinkedIn without me asking it. So definitely got
That's
traction
good.
there. But it takes a whole lot of work to get like 30, 40 people in the same room in the same time, whether it's in real life or online. But to get back to entrepreneurs, so I was doing that with Chad Oda and Jim, and other guys came and went. But then yeah, I stayed there alone and kept the lights on. And I asked Jim to rejoin, and also Martin from the UK. And the first thing those guys said, "Yeah, why don't we do a real meetup with beer and stuff?" So,
And we're having
yeah,
it December 8th.
that's right. That's how beers and bots that idea came, and yeah, people from yeah all over Europe were enthusiastic. So
And they're
yeah,
coming. You told me people actually, like Jim and Martin, but they're flying in
yeah, yeah.
just
Unfortunately,
for the get together.
Jim won't be able to make it because he is in the middle of moving. So that's a pity. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that is a
uh,
pity.
so people from Germany, Italy, yeah, it's will be fun. It will be fun.
That's
Belgium,
pretty.
I hope.
That's pretty amazing, and it is an impressive list of where people come from and join. So I'll be there as well,
Yeah, it's still a
um,
very vivid community, and people are willing to share and learn, and yeah,
and help each other.
it's
But I think
exactly.
there's no animosity or negativity or and we'll do that later as well. We test bots not to ruin them or to tell them they delivered a shitty thing, but to share knowledge and to see it through the glasses or the eyes of a consumer, a user, and then hopefully improve and challenge each other to. Or we run into the limitations of technology, which is also a good discussion
Yeah,
because a lot of companies, you know, they decided a couple of years ago for a certain technology for whatever reason, and the conversation designers run into the limitation of what is possible. My conclusion:
exactly.
either the technology wasn't there at the time, or if they have wrong technology, they didn't think about it properly at the start. They didn't strategize enough, fantasize enough about what crazy stuff they would be able to do at some point in time.
No, sometimes
um,
you cannot predict. Yeah, it
no,
just
no, no. You
happens.
can't. I fully agree. You can't predict, but if you look ahead, it's like, hey, you should say what crazy stuff we can think of, and would that be possible in the software or in the
Yeah,
platform or not, or
think
maybe
big,
it's on the
start small.
in the
Yeah,
roadmap exactly, and then work your way to it. And some of it you'll never do, but some of it you will do, or you want to try, and then you run into, but it's not possible, and then frustration starts happening, and that's a, I think that's a dangerous point to be in with your chatbot because yeah, people are getting sort of the people who are the pushers, the ambassadors internally. They're like, okay, we're done. We can't get any further. So it's going to stay at this level unless the technology moves ahead. And you see the small platforms, you see them moving quick in terms of what functionality they add and the improvement. The big
hmm
platforms, not so much. What I see is less innovation and more. It's more focused on sales. But that also makes sense
Yeah.
in terms of what companies are like. But in terms of choosing, it's a lot of companies choose safe and choose a big platform to run into technology problems eventually. Oh, that is not possible, or we would have to build that especially for you. That's something you definitely don't want. Right? It should be standard
No,
in the
no.
platform.
Yeah, things being not possible. We we plan to bring people to Mars. So what's not possible, but of course it's possible.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of
within
time.
the context of your organization and tech.
I'm glad we're having this get together because I think it's a good thing, and I'm glad we can be there.
Yeah, you'll
Um,
be there, right? Yeah,
we'll be there, and we're also launching something new. And we're very thankful, although it has nothing to do with podcast, is adjacent. It sort of happened because we were doing this, and then the idea popped up. Talking to people, it's like, okay, there is something wrong. We'll talk about it next Thursday, but we're doing a pre-launch. We're actually launching in January, but we'll do the pre-launch on Thursday on the event, so that
cool.
it's good for everybody. So thank you for letting us do that. But that's the commercial part. We're not doing this here. This is about the content. And I asked you before about interesting use cases you're either working on or you see in the market where you see the use of chatbots in an interesting way or an interesting thought that is behind the chatbot. And it doesn't have to be successful yet, but something you say, oh, that's really smart or fun. Ah, you must have thought about that.
Um, well, uh, yeah, the government is also an interesting part, but which is sometimes not looked at enough, I think.
Well,
But
give me an example of where you, because
no, but
basically with the government, it's usually based on frustration from the consumer or the civilians. You look at something, oh, this could be so much easier.
no, but maybe on a city level, what I see is that we have more and more bots that follow you around in your life, perhaps. So
Yeah.
if I move from Amstelveen, it's attached to Amsterdam, but if I move to Utrecht and I go there again to register myself, I shouldn't be answering all those questions, but the assistant should be saying, "Oh, welcome. We're so happy you moved to Utrecht. I hope everything went right, moving your stuff from Amstelveen." You know, it's about the person being in the middle, in the center, and not all these, whether it's our businesses or organizations on a government level. But yeah, we have to break a lot of barriers to make a smooth customer journey, and that should be the basis for everything.
You're saying
It's pretty
something here
cool.
to
What
make, yeah, but you're saying something about making a good customer journey. And especially on the government level, what do you define as a good customer journey? Of course, where the customer is central in the whole story. I understand that. Um, but you must have a clear picture in your mind what that is. Because if you talk to people, then you get a lot of different answers. So I'm curious what the way
Yeah,
is
that's
you
a
look
big
at this.
challenge to have one source of truth within your,
I want
especially
your
your whole
source of truth.
organization. Mine.
I want, yeah, I want to wait. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we're talking to each other. I want to learn about how you see
Well,
things.
just simple things as extending my driver's license shouldn't be because when I say to you, "Oh, I see your license is about to expire," you do like, "Oh shit, no, I have to go through that stuff again." But it shouldn't be that hard. It,
So
it should be
ideally,
a couple of clicks, especially when they
well,
know who the user is.
so basically, if they have your photograph, your actual photograph digitally, you're basically saying you want the local government to approach you with through WhatsApp or something else, saying, "Hi, Barend, you have 3 more months until your driver's license expires. You can, of course, make an appointment and come to the office, but you can also do it digitally. This is the process. Take a picture of yourself with your
Yeah,
take off your glasses,
exactly.
take a picture of yourself. We have the standard in the software. Click, you take a selfie, and then it connects it to the old picture and say, okay, you are actually you. We've because that's easy
Yeah, you
to
can
put two
scan
pictures
your
together.
license with your phone, right, or your
That was the
passport.
second one. Scan your old driver's license. Use your government ID to identify yourself, and then it says, "Oh, okay." And actually, then
But
let me put it differently. Why? What I mean, why would we put a new picture on it? Everybody. Why we put an end date on the driver's license? If the driver's license is right, don't put an end date on it. Just renew it in the software so that it's extended for another X amount of years.
yeah, maybe if
Um,
you don't want to expand it, extend it, you have to do something. But and why do we have a physical plastic card to begin with?
Because in some
Yeah, could
countries you
also
need to
be a
show
question,
it. No, in
but
some I understand that in some countries or in some places you need to be able to show it. It's also a matter of
but I'm
identification.
sometimes scared to lose my iPhone, especially when I'm abroad, because then I don't have anything basically. So sometimes I
Yeah,
print out stuff as a backup. But
well,
yeah,
that's also a little bit the problem. If we're going all digital in everything, if something goes wrong or the network is down, we're well, to
good.
say it nicely, we're screwed. Yeah, we're very screwed. So there is
Yeah,
a flip side to the good stuff.
especially yeah,
Um,
exactly.
So, but to talk about the use case government, same with parking permits in Amsterdam. Why
Hot
do
topic.
it? No, but it's really weird. If I do it online, then it takes for up to 2 weeks to get the parking permit. In the area where I live, there's still parking permits to get. If I go to the office of the municipality, of the local municipality, I go in and I walk out with a permit. Online takes 2 weeks. Physically takes minutes.
Mm, okay.
In my head, I short circuit because that makes no sense whatsoever. They should be glad I'm not coming to the office and do it digitally, and it's easy. And also they could do the announcement or the pre-announcement of the payment. They automatically take it out of your account, but they say, okay, in 3 days' time, we're going to take out this amount of your account for the parking permit for car XYZ. Do you still have it? Because sometimes people forget, or so
Doesn't have to be that complicated, indeed.
no,
Yeah,
and start communicating. The tools are scalable, and that's the whole. If you send a letter via the regular post, that costs a lot of money nowadays. So they could scale down the costs of communicating with the people, make it
yeah,
so much
and
easier.
I'm yeah, I'm sure they're working very hard, but they of course have also a lot of legacy systems, and yeah,
That's
like
never an excuse.
no, but
I
it's what
agree.
the big banks yeah already dealt with more or less. But I think governments have to go through a lot. But yeah, like Estonia, right? They built their whole government from the ground up, 100% digitally, and that's pretty awesome. But,
I
but
think
yeah,
so too.
customer journeys, I, yeah, we see them fail all the time, and
And why
it's
is that? Why do they fail in your vision?
because not many people can really think in the head of the user. So, and it can be simple logistics stuff. Like I was in Munich a couple of weeks ago at a conference about conversational, and there was a huge. So, what do you want after a long talk? You want a coffee, right? Shouldn't
You
be a
want a
hassle.
coffee? You want to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, and
Whatever.
socialize. So
Yeah.
there was a huge queue before, and there were two coffee machines, and they were pretty fast, the machines, to pour the coffee. So I
Yeah.
looked what was going on. They put the cream and sugar right next to it, so everybody was blocking and taking
So
at least
there was no
double
flow.
amount of time. So if they would just put that stuff 2 meters away, it would have solved the whole problem. But
So that's a physical customer
it's a
journey.
physical example, but online you see so many things going wrong, and
Isn't that no?
it's,
That's suggestive. But if I look at that, it seems to me that that is because offline processes are literally translated to a digital process. Like for instance, for certain insurances, what they did was for instance, for a life insurance for the health declaration, when they digitized it, I found it extremely frustrating because they changed it from a paper form. to literally the same questions, the same order in a digital form, which makes absolutely no sense because there is things you don't need to do if you fill in X. There's business rules behind it if you and they weren't
Yeah.
programmed. I think that's really stupid because you could shorten the form, make it for me a good experience. Um, and I'm not bothered by any paperwork. And you get it faster. You have your business rules. You can accept me either automatically and
Yeah.
say, oh,
There are
green light.
less
And
errors to
exactly.
automate stuff.
And less errors, less problems with answers you can't deal with, which might be exceptions or not. You don't know. You have to deal with the content. So I think um, um, we're too much stuck. Not we, but in general, people are too much stuck in what we did, and if we just digitalize it, then we're okay. And that's not what happens. It's the same as
No,
um, it's same as a conversation in a chatbot and a conversation in voice. It's different. It's not the same. You can't apply the same rules.
no, you cannot.
So
Um,
how do you do that? How do you help the organization you help go from okay, we have this stuff we do in the real world, and how do we go from that to a digital experience for the customer where the customer still has a great experience, but it's digital. So what how do you manage that?
yeah, that's a good question. And
I'm more interested in the answer.
a, a pitfall is to yeah to get really deep into it without having like an iBird view. But yeah, always you always start at the process, whether it's offline and perhaps not efficient, but that's what you have, and that's what you have to look at. And then you are going to look at the tools and what opportunities they bring
But
to
what is the greatest
automate.
pit?
And
But where does it go wrong? I mean, there is a pitfall somewhere, and there's lots of good intentions, and people buy good software, and yet they still manage to make something that is similar to the offline story, because that's a good experience, and then all of a sudden, but digitally, it's a different world. So how do you help people or do create it yourself to go from that offline good working form to a online, possibly in a chatbot, great experience for the customer, and usually shorter because that's the whole story. You can skip stuff.
yeah, exactly. Maybe that's a good starting point. How can somebody in the least amount of clicks or typing effort get something done? Because that's what we want. We all have lack of time. We want to get stuff done really fast. Um,
So the
and I
customer
think it's
experience is about speed or convenience or both.
they go hand in hand. I think,
Okay.
but yeah, I think it's good to get as many different people in your team as possible, and perhaps even better to also include real clients, customers, and users, and
Here you touch
prototype
a
stuff.
here you touch a real and important point. The testing part with real customers.
Yeah,
It's what it's of course basically if you have a new startup, you build an MVP
yeah,
and you want to fail fast because you want to understand okay where do I not touch base with the potential customers, and you have to bring it out there. And I think it's the same with the chatbot. Build an MVP and get it out there with customers. Be honest to the customers that this is new and the bot has to learn and it could make mistakes. Have some patience, but we're there learning how we can serve you best. Please help us. And most customers are then willing to. They're always in. Well, a lot of them are
yeah.
interested in new stuff. It's a new experience, and if they know it can go wrong, they're not angry if it goes wrong. They're like, okay, let me give you the feedback. This and this happened.
Now,
Um,
this is a huge difference between conversational and web/app development. Is that we have a huge amount of data of what goes wrong or what they want or what they expect. Because when I use an app and I don't understand it, I might swear or in my head,
you
you
can
know how
swear
it
at your
goes.
phone, and then
Yeah,
Siri might talk back to you. Don't talk
what
to
the
me like
f?
that.
Why I don't understand, and but these frustrations, you don't have that input as an app developer. But on the conversational side, we just people input all the time what they expect and what they need. So
Yeah, and
you
that's a
have to
learning point.
go live fast. The size of your use case is always uh, difficult. You have to somehow limit it. Um, by the way, going live first with an internal bot might also be a good way to learn as an organization without falling flat on your face or having the risk
It
or
depends
feeling
on
that
the. It depends. If you're honest to potential customers, or you say, "Listen, you've bought something or you've done something in the past. Based on that behavior, we would like you to test. It's you can test the process. Nothing happens. Please give us feedback how this compares to your offline experience."
yeah
And then they tell you the pain points in the offline experience. And no, there's one something before it. I think you should interview, if you're changing a process, you should interview the people who use the offline process, ask them about their frustrations before you build anything or design anything, and get that on the table. And then the same people, you say, okay, we have a solution now, or we think we have a solution. Please tell us if that would work for you, because you've done the offline process. And some people will say, oh, I don't want to do this because XYZ, and other people say, well, this is right, but it didn't solve my pain point, that and that. And then you're getting onto something. And that's why the fail fast concept is so important, because it teaches you where the pain points are,
yeah exactly
for the usage. And if you start small, then there's hardly any damage, or there's no damage, if you're honest, that you're testing, and you want their feedback. And actually, you're creating ambassadors, because people see that feel they are heard if you change whatever they asked or gave you back as feedback.
exactly. I think also updating your bot at least once a week is very important and useful, because you could also skip then certain user testing, but just implement something. Could be an A/B test, or you route 10% of some of the traffic at some point to a new ID or feature.
I
So
agree, but
you can live test when you have enough traffic, and
yeah,
not
but I think if a
tune
hundred
stuff.
people give you feedback, then it doesn't matter. You don't need 1,000 more to tell you what's wrong. If a
Exactly,
hundred
but
people
I
tell you
mean
something is wrong,
you can do it in your live environment,
yeah, I
testing,
agree.
and
No,
yeah, that's really
no,
cool.
I fully agree. To once you're out there, then but just manage the expectations. Tell people you're testing, that it's new and you need their feedback. Then usually most people are okay with that if you're honest about it. If you're not and you're testing and
Yeah,
they don't know, they feel like a guinea pig. Same story, but different experience for
yeah,
the
yeah.
customer.
But yeah, you'll notice that a huge amount of your users don't read all the intro or stuff. They just but
So, but you
you
could
can
approach
also
them.
repeat stuff, and maybe not literally, but
No, I understand,
and
but and some stuff you can ask customers about, and they'll say no until they
yeah,
experience it, and then they say, "Oh wow, I never knew it could be like this." So sometimes you have to. I'm not going to say follow your intuition, but it's more like, okay, we don't know until we've tested it, and testing, bring it in a live environment and see what people do. I mean, we've tested in Holland with. Identification process in the bot. And then people were saying, "Oh, this concept called Eden, which where you say your address and your name from
yeah.
your banking details." And um, the technology works fine. It's easy, it's fast, and you get the confirmation. And we asked people, "Yeah, no problem." But once you put it out there, people are not willing to share their banking details. And they're like, why should I do that in a bot? So there was a psychological thing we didn't consider.
They found it scary.
And they find it scary, although the socially responsible answer is, yeah, sure, no problem, because I know they can't get to my money. It's not an issue. And then if they actually have to do it, it's a different story. So you can ask stuff and get a no or a yes. It doesn't mean it's successful. It could be a disaster check, but not more than that. But the truth is in the actual habits of the users. And so we saw great cutoff when we put that in. It's like all of a sudden the response went down, like almost to
Yeah,
zero. And we're like, okay, what did we do wrong? And we understood. And then, okay, let's try something else. And then made
yeah.
it so easy
Sometimes.
that the response flew through the roof. Okay, so here we
Or
have
did you route them to a more known environment where they could do the
no,
identification?
not,
And
no, 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 no. Here's the interesting thing. We were looking at, if you look at customer service, okay, here's an interesting thing. It's also about use case. If you look at customer service and you call a company, they will ask you, for instance, your zip code, the last four numbers of your bank account, or your telephone number, or something that identifies you. And they say, okay, you're Duran, you're Barend, thank you. Let's talk about your personal information because that's why you call. Okay, and then they have access to your information and they can share anything with you. Why? And this makes no sense to me. On the phone, anybody could call, spoof my number, and have the right answers. So why do you make a difference in terms of identification in the different channels? And so we were wondering that. It's like, and talking to compliance about that, of course, and it didn't make any sense. So it's okay. Let's try the same concept as when you would call, because that's what they know. And poof, problems were gone.
yeah, cool.
And so there is this, and I understand if you're online, you have to be extra careful, but there's no difference in and people getting your personal information if they would have that information to get to that. Um, so
Yeah, it's funny because
if compliance says no, you need to take extra measures online, then my conclusion would be okay. Anything else you do on the phone is not safe, apparently. So why do we keep doing it? And the argument is
psychology,
no,
right?
but it's psychology. It's good for customers. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's not make a difference in terms of expectations for the client between online and offline.
Yeah, but
Um,
we when we go to a tropical island, we have a drink at some bar that almost collapsed, on the beach. We have the trust to give our credit card to the waiter, and he goes somewhere you cannot even see him. We trust that, but sometimes online we have to get used to it. It's funny
well, in
how
certain
funny.
areas, you do not want to give your credit card because you know you're going to
No,
be scammed, or they copy it. But no, but coming back to that, I think we can state that it's important to always involve customers in your testing, real customers, and bring your bot to a live environment as soon as possible. So, as an
yeah,
MVP, keep it small, be honest to customers or users. It is a test, we're learning. Please help us. And if you ask for help and you're honest about that, it's usually not a problem, in
that's
my
also
opinion.
important to raise the awareness within the team that you have to let go of the idea of perfection.
That is a
Because
problem.
we launch something and we basically say, "Ask me anything," but we all know we are not there, and even the best bots have problems with that. But we are
And
moving in the good
you know, the
direction.
the first bot we tested was ABN AMRO, and the first line we got when we were testing this says, "I'm Anna. Hi, I'm Anna. You can ask me anything." And of course, we did, and nothing to do with banking details. And of course, Anna panicked because she couldn't answer it. And
Yeah,
um, a lot of people or a lot of companies do that. Oh, you can ask me anything, but state anything within the realm of this data or this business field
yeah,
or whatever,
without
and
paying. Yeah,
manage. No, it's all about managing expectations. If you tell me I can ask you anything, that's KLM didn't, same story. They didn't sort of say what I could talk to them about. So we tried to rent a car, which it's not absolutely weird. And
no,
it just got very confused. It didn't know what to do with us.
the
Uh,
intents were not built yet for that topic. No,
yeah,
yeah,
but
just don't
it
give them
makes
a
a
carte blanche. Yeah,
well. So if you would start, you can ask me anything about flights, in-flight entertainment, payments. I don't know, of flights of KLM Air France. Perfect. Let's go. I understand. So I will not ask anything which is not in the realm of what the bot can do. And another trend that I see, which I really like, is that you have the bot, the screen of the conversation, and at the side you have basically the most frequently asked questions or processes, the FAQs or the FAPs. Um, and you can click and basically start the process conversation directly without having to go through intents and the chatbot trying to understand you. And I think that's a really good approach because it is it's what you're saying to be able to do what you want to do or get the information you want within
Yeah,
as little clicks as possible.
that's correct, exactly. At my current project at Adidas, we did a cool update for
The
the
sneaker brand. I say Merc.
yeah.
It's a
I
Dutch word.
I never
Sorry.
have to
I
explain parties where who it is I work for at the moment.
Yeah. Well, and what do you
Uh,
do for them?
yeah, so I'm in the conversational team, and we built a bot that's like the primary version for the United States. And then we have versions, localization, Canada and in Brazil since a couple of weeks.
And
But
now it's a bit funny that a guy who's situated in Holland works for Adidas in Holland, and you're building a bot for every country on the other side of the world, but not Holland.
well, we turned off the bot in the Netherlands because of low
Why?
volumes and low
Okay.
capacity on our side. So we had
Okay.
to choose.
And what
So
is the
we're
bot
yeah,
doing in North America?
yeah, it's
What
mainly customer service. So about your order status or your exchange. Yeah, you want a
for
different
consumers
size or a refund.
or consumers or stores?
Consumers. Yeah,
Okay, so consumers can order. Adidas has a direct channel where you can order your shoes or clothing
basically,
through
I
the.
work at a giant web shop. They do
Okay.
lots more, but yeah. And another reason we turned it off in the Netherlands is because we are a nice small country and the logistics are fairly simple here with next day delivery. But
Yeah.
in the US, you have logistic hubs and higher chances of things going wrong, especially in the weeks that now started since
Yeah, it's crazy
yeah
everywhere.
Cyber Monday and Black Friday and all that stuff. So it will be crazy until
And
uh,
Christmas coming up.
January when all the things are going to be sent back. That's the real stress for people.
Ah,
Yeah, then you realize you don't like the Christmas present, or you have to do some sports to fit it. That's weird. But yeah, but what we ask, and I'm not super happy we do because it's a barrier. But before you can chat to the bot, we
the
ask for
consumer.
for the consumer can chat with the bot. You are asked to fill out your uh, name, email, and
So
order
personal
number.
details.
But order number is not obliged. But we see that like more than 80% fills out the order number,
Okay.
which is good. But we don't know how many people are not using our bot because of these barriers. But anyway, so it's important. I said when they fill out their email and order number, and we pull that stuff via the API from Salesforce, we can make a very educated guess what they are on the chat, what their question will be about. So we now implement a cool upgrade of the bot that we give them a personalized introduction with a personalized message and personalized first button option
Okay.
because and we even answer questions they didn't ask us yet. So we say, "Oh, I see your sneakers will arrive in 2 days. Everything is going according plan or something. Did this already answer your question, or do you want to know something about?" And then we give these customized buttons, and we actually see people now saying, "Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Thanks." So they didn't ask anything, right? So that's a cool customer journey, I think. And
So it's a no click. They don't even click. They
it's
get the answer.
no, they had to go through the intake form, which I would like to move into the bot, to have one type of experience. But of course, this form is also used when there's only live chat and no bot yet available. Yeah, you have
uh,
to deal with enterprise enterprise
but
stuff. Yeah,
but that
it's
makes
pretty
sense in
cool.
a
I think.
way.
Yeah, so yeah, highly personalized, smooth experiences. That's what we are aiming for. And
I,
like we
I
said in the yeah, I think the quality of a bot mainly depends on how much data you can pull in about yeah the user or other context variable, maybe location or whatever.
I agree. I think the if you look at the future of bots, because that's one thing we're all looking at. It's okay, what's the next thing that we'll be doing or implementing? Is that we're moving more and more to bots that can do and the front end and move immediately to the back end, so handle a conversation, including a process. And of course, that requires something else from the bots and the technology. And a lot of technology is not there yet, or is not never going to get there. Um, but what you see is that an integration between conversation and buttons, because the stuff that's frequent, why do you let someone type if you know they choose one of those? Make it
Yeah,
faster. That's one of the things I see happening. Well, there is, of course, software that does only text. Some do text and buttons. Not all of them do that. So there's a challenge as well. And I think that the quality of the integrations with your backend, which allow you to, that's the next thing, to make bots personalized, to make them relevant to you and only you.
exactly.
I think that's where we're moving. So the integrations with backend are becoming more and more. You're having someone ringing the doorbell.
Oh, you hear it. Yeah.
um, See, this is real. We're not avatars.
Package for the holidays.
Ah, okay. You ordered new sneakers.
Yeah.
No, I really think that's where we're going, and it's not easy because the bots will be eventually fully data driven. So there is the importance of data safety and security becomes more and more important on the one
Yeah,
hand. And I think um, that if you talk about the governments before, that's also where their potential is. They know so much about me, make it personal and relevant, and you can relieve a lot of stress on the offices and reduce not so much the headcount. That's not what I'm, but increase your service. That's basically make it easier and faster. And I still think the live channel should stay open because there's a lot of older people, which we're pushing um, digital services, basically down their throat, and they're not happy. They're not happy. They just want to see a person and have the confirmation that
yeah.
everything is taken care of, and that is also important and necessary. Again, if everything breaks down, we still need to be able to do our stuff. So you should never lose
It's
the real
the human
stuff.
touch.
Well, the human touch, we can mimic the human touch in a bot. You know that, and we can get a long way, and it gets better
Yeah,
and
or
better if you
digital
if you
human.
exactly if you look at the large language models, the speed at which that is developing, it's truly stellar. Um,
It's mind
um,
blowing. Yeah,
it's exactly, it's mind
it's
blowing,
mind
and the
blowing
AI,
what the really smart people are doing.
yeah, and the AI stuff that is being added to that, and you see stuff happening and really quick, and I find that an interesting development because that will allow us to make that good integration between front end and back end processes because we understand to get something in a conversational way and then sort of make it like a factory and do stuff in the back end, but not by people, but by either RPA techniques or direct
Exactly.
communication through an API. Because we hear a lot of excuses in companies. Yeah, we can't do this because we have legacy systems. Says it's not a problem. We can do that with RPA technology. We can fix it. Yeah, we create coworkers that do the work at night. We buffer it, and they're just scared because they know their own IT department says no to everything because we can't do it. It's a legacy system. Uh,
Impossible is nothing. Yeah,
it doesn't
it's just a
exist.
matter of yeah where you want to focus on and allocate your budget on. I think
Exactly.
that's also one of the hardest things for conversational teams to decide what will we do the next sprint, or the next quarter. And yeah,
In
especially
terms of innovation, you mean?
yeah, what do you want to work on with your team? Because I think all teams have more than enough work
On the
they
backlog, you
could
mean?
pick up. Yeah,
But that's why you have a product owner who helps you give direction to what should be or what direction you should take the stuff off your backlog and work on. And sometimes you have rework based on what you did in the previous sprint. You learn it doesn't work. You need to do something else. So
yeah, and
it's a
working data
combination.
driven. You already mentioned it, but it's okay. I don't see you anymore.
You don't see me anymore. Don't worry, we were just gone. It's filming.
Oh, yeah,
We're
we're
here.
still recorded,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No
recording the
worries.
voice at least.
We have
Um,
we use state of the art software, which even if everything doesn't go exactly well in
no,
the recording, it
I'm
does.
not,
It's buffering, so don't worry.
I'm not fully panicking.
Not yet.
I'm used to some live
Technological challenges.
recordings going wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
once had to put ice coolers below my laptop during one of the heat waves here in the Netherlands
it was overheating.
because yeah, it was overheating, and I was interviewing actually
Ooh.
Philip from Cognigy. Funny story. It
Okay.
all went well, but
Hey,
yeah, working data driven. That, um, that's super cool, but it's also quite a challenge, and
why
it
is it such a
takes a
challenge?
lot of because sometimes you just want to change something, which is also like we talked about. You can do little tests. It's also data driven, but sometimes you even have to decide to do a test based on data, and something like also the expectations. Some people write queries or yeah, what's your question, and they type a story that looks more like an email.
You
Yeah,
mean
our
the consumer?
NLU
You mean?
cannot handle that super well. We're not there yet. So how do you manage that to limit the length of what people can ask without already
Well,
frustrating them with limitations?
I've seen
Very
uh,
nice.
I've, s- I've seen quite a few solutions around. There's companies that put in a bot. You can write your message, but no more than 100 characters. Um, there's one that says only use keywords or
Yeah.
a really short sentence. Um, and that's it's interesting you touch this. I wasn't planning on touching this because basically it comes back in every podcast. But
Yeah.
there's a no, and apparently this is an issue we
It's a
haven't
struggle.
solved.
Yeah.
No, well, it's not a struggle. I think we'll solve it eventually. But it's really the question: do we want the computers or the software to learn how to speak human and understand human language fully, or do we as humans need to learn to speak computer? And that's basically keywords. And we've tested bots where
Yeah.
we try the sentence and we get a shitty result, and we try the keyword or two keywords and we get exactly what we're looking for. So the bots are programmed or created in a way they're either with one or the other in mind. And having said that, that means at the beginning, if you have built a bot with that both thoughts in mind, either keywords or regular sentences, say that up front. It's like, okay, I'm an avatar, I'm a computer, you're talking to software, and please, if you communicate with me, use a short sentence, keywords, or whatever. Um, Most bots don't say that in advance. One or two maybe do.
No, but a lot of people read over it. But also the presentation on the website, with a clear bot avatar can help, and all those elements have to be correct. And yeah, it's such a challenging field
It's
to
it's
be working in because it's never one. Our problems are never a one sentence
I
answer.
know,
Except,
but
shall we go to lunch? Then we say yes, let's go. But
yeah, but
it's
sometimes
always on this and that, and yeah,
but if you're looking for certain keywords, let's say uh, uh, change address, you can put in a whole sentence. I want to change the address for my insurances, blah 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 blah, because I'm moving on that and that date. people will actually type that whole sentence because they think they're talking to a human and they think they need to explain themselves why they want something, which for the computer is not relevant why you want to change your address. The computer just wants to know, okay, you want to change your address? Is this your current address? And where are you moving to? What's the new address?
Yeah,
And some confirmation that you are you. I'm just saying, just state that in the beginning that that's what you want and how you want to communicate. And if someone uses a longer sentence, it's like, okay, I understand you want to talk to me, but I give better answers if you use keywords, and just keep repeating it. It's a matter of educating your audience, and if you're clear from the beginning, people don't mind. It's just if they, I get frustrated, and probably a lot of other people too. If you write a whole sentence and the thing doesn't tell you it wants keywords, which is fine with me too, because the only thing I want is the result. I don't,
yeah.
as fast as possible. That was the customer journey you were talking about, as little clicks as possible. If I have to explain myself 3 times, that's not as little, that's not a few clicks anymore.
No, no.
Um,
Yeah,
uh,
especially when you're beginning with your bot and you have to develop your NLU, it's good to express it. And then when you're more advanced as a team and as a bot, then you can let go a little and
yeah,
see what happens with more natural language. But it's
and
funny
that's
because at ING I worked on the call bot, so
yeah,
I, I had to look in 10,000s of utterances of what people tell the bot they are calling about, and
it's
we saw a
voice, right?
huge amount of one-word sentences. So we said mortgage or my savings account, and then I said, why not give them some examples? Like I have a question, or I want to change my mortgage. So there's a verb and a noun,
And there's an
and we
intent
gave
in there.
yeah. So we gave two example sentences, but then we saw a huge spike in exactly those sentences because people just started repeating it, even if they didn't have a mortgage at all at the bank. So there's it's
That's
so
really
funny
weird.
that yeah, the tech, language, and psychology mixed. That's what makes it so fun for me, and I think all the people in this community.
That's why I'm a big fan of using applied psychologists in your team, or having them in your team and having them analyze and talk to customers with you, because they come up with the most interesting ways of formulating the same thing.
Yeah,
And in the beginning, you're like, oh my God, what's happening here? But as you go along, you see the value of it. You see conversation improving, you see customers getting happier. Um, so I find that really interesting, although you could be a bit skeptical. Um, but it works. It definitely works if you use it in a good way to help customers, not to push them to do something they don't want to do. You can do that as well. I don't. If
yeah,
you use it there, I think that's not, moral, according to the right moral standards. It's not ethical. But if you use it in the right way, it's so valuable. And
it is.
um,
It is.
and I think it's something the conversation designers should be educated on big time, more and more, and it shouldn't stop. Should be a continuous process. So even though you have developed a lot of bots, learning on that territory is should be like once a month an update, and see what new
Exactly.
insights we
Yeah,
have
even if
as
you
a group to
yeah,
share what
if you
works and
can
what
have
doesn't
a
work.
person like that part time in your team, would be super valuable because they could
Yeah,
also help the web team and the app team and what any team basically. Yeah, and
yeah, and,
what
and
also
it's
worked.
it's the edge.
Also, it's a recommendation is to include one or two contact center agents in your conversational team, so
I
they do both jobs.
I fully agree
And
because
that
they're
is
the
super
voice of the
valuable.
customer.
Yeah, we don't do that my current project, but the previous one we did, and yeah, it was the best move ever because they know how the customers
And they
found
come up with
them.
suggestions that they know how to shorten conversations with customers and how to make them happy because they know what they're asking for. They know when they get
Exactly.
frustrated. They listen. They're used to that.
Also
Um,
huge.
there's huge value
Yeah,
there as well. I
yeah.
fully agree. Um, You set up, because we were talking about customer journeys, and you said something interesting. It's sometimes so hard to find. We know there's a chatbot somewhere in this page or in its website. We
Yeah,
can't find it, and that's assuming you use a chatbot on a website. Of course, if it's in WhatsApp or another channel, then it's different. Um, you set up a website to share, and we're gonna try and find the chatbot. That's number one, and then we're gonna test the chatbot. I'm curious, which one do you have for us today?
yeah. Let me share my
Yeah, you can
screen,
share your
and
screen, please do.
we
And
but
while you do that, it's the because there's still space available in the we're not commercial, but there's still space available in the beers and bots. Next Thursday, is there?
yeah.
Can you have a reason besides me being there, of course? Do you have a reason why people should come to the who haven't bought a ticket yet should come to the event? What's in it for them?
What's in it for them? Yeah, when I look at the people who are joining, it's such a mixed crowd and of enthusiastic folks within our space. Um, well, it's of course awesome to do these things again after the pandemic. So I
I
see people
understand.
really fond of it, and just, just have a beer. You can also chat about your pets or whatever you want. You know, it doesn't limit to bots, but yeah, it will awesome. The amount of energy is already huge, and we're not even in the same room yet.
And is it one other thing that I thought of that is important to lower? Of course, if you don't know someone online, there's a certain. If you only know someone online or just a LinkedIn connection, there's a certain barrier maybe to approach someone for help. Is it also to make it easier to look to your left or right? It's like, okay, I need help on this with this, or there's something I haven't done before, but I know someone else. I can ask the community to help me out. I ask the question and I get answers, how they solve that kind of problems.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I think so. So the value is you increase your network. You know people firsthand, and you have access to sources of information you would otherwise have no access to because you can look online. But that's why we started this podcast. There is so little available. I mean, there's stories, but not the struggle behind it. How to get to those stories, and I think the struggle to get there is
Yeah, too many
very
success stories.
yeah, and and there's as many fuck ups as there are success stories. We hear only the success stories, but we learn from the fuck ups.
Yeah, and
Because
what
then
I
we learn what
see
not to do.
at what I hear at the monthly uh, virtual events that we host, yeah, people are really honest about sharing their struggles, and that's the power of conversation. Because with a conversation, you really get to the point and you learn. But when somebody is just telling stuff, then it's harder to to get the knowledge you want.
And there's another thing. If you're a conversation designer, there's one thing you should do is converse, talk to people, because
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
when you learn
Yeah,
how it works.
don't be
And not
behind
only
your
digitally.
screen typing too much.
Exactly. Okay. Which bot are we going to test?
Exactly. Yeah,
You had some top
yeah. So
examples. Okay, for
I
the people who
thought I
are
found a
listening,
great. Yeah,
we're on
I
the
found.
Zendesk blog, and there's travel chatbots, top examples that travelers and businesses love. So there's a list here of
Yeah, so I
chatbots
thought
that are
this
used in travel.
WestJet and something about Las Vegas, but you already see the amount of tabs I have open. We
Yeah.
couldn't even find those bots, so we ended
So
up
so
at
which one did you
Emirates,
open? Emirates. Fly
Emirates Airlines.
Emirates.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
let's find the bot.
let's find the bot. Yeah, I don't see immediately a button, so I usually just
So you
scroll
can give
down.
we can give feedback on the side, but I presume that's not the bot.
No, I guess not. This is
Okay,
also not what
so
I want.
where
Yeah.
are
So I had this struggle before. Maybe they improved it.
so we go to help and contact, and then
I don't see the bot, but
there we have a
uh,
box called live chat, but we're not looking for live chat.
no, we don't want to bother anyone at this point. So
No.
yeah, I knew the trick to find it. Actually, is
What's it?
Google. Jet Emirates.
Okay, so
But
here's the interesting thing is, Barend, because this is something funny, and
it's hidden.
in the pre-talk we talked about this that I tested a website, and I tested the chatbot and the search bar on their website, and Google gave me better results to their website than their own
Yeah.
search bar and chatbot, which I find worrying because then so much is missing. So here the same thing, we couldn't find the chatbot on the website of Emirates itself. It's hidden somewhere. You Googled it, and then what happened?
Yeah. So the customer journey when you're actually taking a flight with Emirates is amazing, but online they have a lot of work to do.
Okay.
Let's just click on start chat.
Okay,
Um,
so you have
although
that.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm not completely convinced that I will be talking to the bot because it doesn't explicitly say. But
Okay, let's see. So it asks you for your information. This is something we talked about before. It it it
ah,
it wants to know who you are. Okay, now we get Emma is talking
yeah,
to us. Emma is the virtual assistant, and that's what it said.
yeah.
Also, you can talk to the. It says, "Hi, Barend Jan. I'm your virtual assistant. Are you contacting us for support as a customer, or do you need any help as a travel agent?" Yes, I'm a customer. No, I am a travel agent. And
Apparently, I'm
we're going
oh,
for that we are.
yeah, I clicked yes, I'm a customer, but it didn't
Well,
show
it's
me. I clicked, but how can
the
I
one
help you?
today,
Yeah,
Barend Jan. If you're traveling soon, select COVID-19 travel advice below to find out exactly what documents and tests you'll need before flying. We update this information every day. It says a time
I
underneath.
did.
And then, but you know what I find?
Yes.
And maybe it's because it's on my screen. I find the box where you can look in conversation. It's really small. Um, y- you can make it bigger. Ah, okay. So we can make it
It won't
bigger.
work on mobile probably,
No,
but
but
this is also interesting. They put like 7 options in a scroll list.
yeah, but
Okay.
probably because a lot of the chatbot technologies they can deal with one button or two buttons or maybe three, but not seven. So
No,
they
but
use
it's also about cognitive overload for the user. But
yeah, and in the square or the rectangle, you can't see all seven options,
yeah,
and and you can still type. So even though you can choose one, uh, we can still type a text. And which also interesting on the right below the arrow for send, it says the amount of characters you've typed, and next to it
yeah,
is the maximum amount of characters you can type. It didn't say in the beginning. You have to logically deduct that from what you see on the screen.
exactly. I didn't even notice it yet.
Yeah,
And this
it's really
looks a bit
small.
like an. They could
That's a
make a little
center.
airplane out of this. But
That's true. But
the
to me, it
yeah,
looks
I
like
want
an
to
arrow.
fly to New York for Christmas. That's like what you would
Yeah.
say to a human travel agent, right?
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens because you didn't test it up front. Okay.
Emma says to find out exactly where we are flying, we've created a new feature called "Where are we currently flying to?" That makes a lot of sense. Which our team updates every day. Okay, so basically, it's a hyperlink, right?
Yeah.
So it takes us to. Oh shoot!
Oh, that's
It takes us
interesting.
out of the page.
Maybe the
Let's see.
chat comes back.
And the chatbot. Oh, I'm very happy the chatbot stays on the page.
Am I
Kudos
still
for.
there? Woo!
Yeah, it got me worried for a second, but kudos for Emirates to do that because that's a problem in a lot of website. The
Yeah.
chatbot doesn't move along to another page,
But apparently they did not build this yet in the conversational experience. So yeah, of course we are not
which
going to
is
test.
interesting. Which is interesting because the data is accessible via Skyscanner or any other app. I could
Of
just
course.
click Emirates, and it only shows me the flights of Emirates. So, um,
Uh, can I always get full refund?
okay. Well, I think the always part is going to be.
It's misspelled, but let's just keep it.
Yeah. So Emma is
I like the avatar.
typing. Well, the avatar is really small in here. But it's the way flight attendants are dressed.
Looks. Yeah.
But she has a. Does she have a mouth mask on in the avatar or
No,
not?
I
No,
don't think.
because on the picture, people have a COVID mouth mask, mouth face mask on, and in the avatar they have the hat and scarf and everything from Emirates. Ah,
But
no,
yeah, it
it
looks
looked a
nice.
bit
But
like a white beard this way. The way it's. I was gonna.
Santa's
There's
early.
Santa Claus. Yeah, I was gonna say, but
Uh,
Emirates and Santa Claus. I'm not sure if they get together.
and
It says here, are
yeah,
you asking for one of the following, Barend John? And then again, we get a scroll down menu, keeping your ticket, wrong refund received, voucher refund request, and refund not received, redeeming vouchers.
yeah. So basically, I'm looking for the refund policy. But yeah, this looks a bit
So
like
this, so
keyword-based list or something.
yeah, everything. So it's high level. Why don't you ask
I
him
would I
refund
would pick this.
policy? Why don't you ask him again and then ask the question that you want to see the refund
It's
policy?
interesting, but I think my input field to type is gone now.
No, it's still there. It's just the
Oh
size
yeah,
you,
because I
the
zoomed
way
in.
you sized it, and you
Yeah,
can move the box over the screen, which is also new.
apparently.
I've
I
never.
don't know if
It's all of a sudden the
this.
chatbot is
Ah, yeah, it's by
it's free
design.
move.
That's
It's
good.
interesting design because you can move the screen around. Okay, it says here, Emma says, we ask refund policies, you can ask a refund here, but did you know you don't actually need to? You can simply hold on to your ticket for the future with extended validity. Find out more.
Yeah,
But
I know
we ask for the policy.
but they're very flexible and yeah, have good refund policy. But
Nice.
yeah, if I click, I will again go to web pages. But
Okay, what else do we wanna know from? Ask him something difficult, something that is not logical. No, ask him. No, no, that's interesting.
is there a
Can I?
mask?
No, can I pray on board? Not say it doesn't matter which religion you are. But, oh, do I
I
have to
will,
wear a mask on the plane? Oh no, that's
I
fine too.
will copy this for later.
Okay. Can I pray on in a flight or during a flight? Plane.
That's a
Let's
nice
see.
one
Without
within the
saying
context.
religion. Yeah, let's see what they.
If they build something for this.
No, the, so I don't think I can help. Check if one of the. Okay, so they have no.
This is interesting. When I click, my answer doesn't appear here as you would expect.
They forgot to put that, make that visible.
But
Is
it
there
comes back
anything
fairly quick.
else I can help you with? Try to
Maybe
help with.
they should have something
Yeah.
on
So now
masks.
we ask, do I have to wear a mask on the plane?
Yes.
Let's see what she comes up with. And we can, okay. So the
Well,
intent is where it was here on the plane and not a mask. So dining, we get the answer, a menu, dining menu, Wi-Fi options, in-flight entertainment, etc., etc. Stuff you can have or do on the flight.
I think they
Uh,
didn't build something for the word mask, but they have stuff
so
about
now the input
about
is the word Corona,
yeah.
and it
Please
says,
type
and
this.
please type the surname. So Corona all of a sudden is a person. Try COVID. Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
yes, please type the surname. Why? That makes no sense. Okay, now I'm really confused. Sorry, I couldn't find your booking. Oh, she was looking for a booking. We never asked that. However,
it's funny that this word triggered Corona triggered all this stuff. But
so
yeah,
they put the intent behind Corona, not about face masks or the procedures, but someone wanted to ask something about his or her flight. That can be the only logical explanation. Let's check your travel destination. So we ask COVID policy. Let's check your travel destination so we can give you the best advice to follow. Which country are you traveling from? So
I'm
that's
from
wishful thinking, Barend. You're filled in Maldives.
oh,
Maldives.
oh I,
Yeah, that's fine. You're flying from Maldives,
In
And where
Germany,
are you going? To Germany.
I don't care.
No, it's okay. Now, Maldives, it says there are no longer any COVID-19 entry restrictions for travel to Germany. This includes requirements for testing, vaccination, blah, blah, blah. Requirements for travel from a specific origin. Entry for passengers traveling to Germany from China is only permitted for people who have an urgent, besides explaining, just for Chinese travelers. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, and then later on, there's a red button, search flights. Now we're asking, do you fly from Belgium to Amsterdam? I'm pretty sure the answer should be no.
fly. It's correct.
Fly.
Yeah. I don't think they do this short city trips.
Fly is
Fly is
different. Sorry, but I don't think I can help. I can try it again and then with the right type.
with the proper English. Yeah,
Proper spelling, yeah.
but low hopes.
Or high expectations. That could also be the case.
Yeah, something like a mix of that.
So now we ask Emma, do you fly from
Although,
Belgium to Amsterdam? And then she brings us
okay,
back to the page to find out exactly where we are flying. We've
it's
created
a
a
lot of
new feature
static
called,
content.
yeah, where are we
But it
currently
is
flying?
interesting, my mistake here,
Yeah,
because I'm not the first person to make this mistake. It should be
no.
ticked off. But
So,
I think they have a lot of work to do, and
but
they made
there's lists of synonyms or wrong spellings you can just add to your database. It's not that exciting.
no, it's pretty rigid, pretty
Yeah.
binary. It's either all or nothing, or yeah. But
So basically, they can't tell us whether they fly from Belgium to Amsterdam, which is, of course, it's weird to ask because we know they don't. But they're saying you need to figure this out yourself. They could also say no, we don't, but we do fly, and say something closer,
yeah, would be nice.
or say, well, the distance, within Europe are really short. We advise you take the train or a local carrier, something like that. Um, so then
Maybe another how many, because I'm logged in apparently,
ah,
but I
so
don't expect a personal answer. How many miles do I
so
have?
Barend is asking how many miles do I have? Apparently he's logged in, and then it comes back. Are you asking to the following, Barend Jan? And then we get another drop down menu with a lot of features. So it says miles are missing from my account, my family account, partner offers. What else? Miles balance and expiry date. That's what you asked for. Miles balance. How to keep my Skywards tier and do more with
Yeah,
miles. So click on miles balance and expiry date.
I never saw this user interface in the bot. So
Okay,
this,
yeah. Emma says your Skywards miles are valid for 3 years. Once added to your account, you can set automated message from your my account page to remind you when Skywards miles are due to expire. Find out. It's interesting. It says miles balance and expiry date. So it just gives you a story about what the general rules about expiry date, not uh,
yeah,
your your miles balance. Oh, now we're asking how hot is it in
never saw
Qatar at the moment?
with the World Cup.
Okay,
But yeah, I think our expectations.
and
Ah,
okay,
I'm no weather expert. Oh, this is at least
a
some.
page used to check if I have an upcoming book. If you have an upcoming booking with us, we give you a forecast for your trip near to the time of your trip, sorry. Or are you asking about check disruptions? Why would they come? Okay, I'm confused. Why would you
The,
check
combine this,
disruptions?
yeah,
Yeah,
with the
that makes no sense.
weather
Um,
disruptions, maybe.
the good thing
But
is that they have something with weather,
yeah,
and they understand more people ask the question, so they did something right there.
but I
Um,
used this bot a year ago, and yeah, I'm not sure they made a lot of progress. But yeah,
I don't know. I've never
they
used it.
they are they have a bot.
Yeah, but so the interesting thing is they know who you are. You think you're logged in. You ask for your miles. Maybe you if you type miles balance. What is my miles balance? Um,
I know tent,
try yeah, precies.
no spelling
Because
mistakes.
no, so we ask the bot now, what is my miles balance, and then she comes back with the same answer. Are you asking for the following? It's the same as the one we tapped
Yeah,
before, and then we get general information. So it gives you the suggestion. It's personalized, but it's not.
no,
It has no access to backend data. That's my conclusion based on
no,
what I see.
you have some
You
nice
agree?
work to do. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll tag them, of course, in when we post this and see if they need any help.
I'm kind of
Um,
wrapping up here.
yeah, that's fine. I
Do
think
you have more patience with Emma? Or? Okay,
no, no,
that's
no.
nice.
We're losing our
Good.
patience with Emma. Which you know what I find interesting, and why would Emirates call their avatar bot or the avatar in their bot Emma, which is a European name or an American name?
Emirates. No, I don't know.
Yeah, actually, that could be the no. That's not bad logic. So I
Could
would have
be
called
that.
her Amira or something. But I understand they give her a female name, which
Just
is
complete. It's a funny sentence. Just complete.
yeah. So she asked us, Emma asked us if we could help us with anything else. And yes, answer was a button, yes or no. We didn't click the button. We just said nope. She
That
recognized and said, glad I could
that
help
went
you,
well.
Barend John. Well, we didn't say you helped us, but safe travels and have a great day, which is good that she ends things on a friendly note.
Yeah.
And then it said chat complete, so they decided you cannot ask any questions anymore.
I
It's
wasn't
done.
sure if it was some sort of new form of a button, but
No, 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 no. It's done.
mm,
I always find, well, not always, in some situations where you get relevant information, having a button where you would say email with the transcript of the conversation because there was good information in there. I think that is a handy functionality, not difficult. But I think people, especially older people, if they want to look up something, it's easy if you have a PDF where you have the conversation or the relevant information that was shared.
yeah, to download. Yeah, exactly.
But you
Download
can't.
conversation.
Can you download actually? No, you can't. It just makes the button small. You can't download. Okay, this wraps up our test. So for Emirates people, we have some. You have some work to do. There is room for improvement, and that's what basically bots and beers is all. Beers and bots, sorry, is all about. Getting together, meeting people, sharing information, knowledge, sharing contact details, and work together as a community. Because I think that
Exactly.
again, that's where the value is. Is there
That's where the magic
anything?
happens.
Yeah, that's where yeah, well, that's it. That's where the magic happens. Because I think the innovations come from people in the field working together to solve problems that we run into or that the customer runs into. That's our duty.
Exactly.
Um, is there anything you want to um, give or share with the community? Um, and I don't mean for the 8th of December, but in general, would you say, okay, if, this is an important message when working with companies or designing chatbots, keep this in mind. It works or it doesn't work.
Uh,
Anything that you think helps.
no, maybe even the stage before that for people who want to join this field of expertise. It's
So if someone wants to
main
be a conversation designer or writer,
exactly. My main advice is start building a bot. Only then, no, only when you actually have people using it and see what they type, then you get the idea of conversational. Then you also understand it's not always a process flow. So just pick a topic that you like, and then
start
send it to
building.
your friends and family, and just see what happens. Don't listen only to talks like we did today, but just do it. It's a
It's
slogan
end,
of
end, end.
yeah. just will
Slogan of a competitor of where
will
you're
using
working right now.
it. Yeah, exactly. But it's
S-
super important. I just wanna I wanna plug the bots and bears a bit more because
No,
botrepreneurs is a difficult
I've given no one
short-working.
else a platform to give a
Thank you
commercial
for that.
message, but no, but we're promoting all the time that networking and sharing knowledge is extremely important, and that's exactly what we're going to do there. So I'm pro. So I'm going to let you.
Yeah, we have a couple sponsors, so some free drinks and snacks. We don't make any money on this event. Breaking even will be cool. So yeah, would be awesome to join. You can still join at this very moment. So yeah, hope to see you all in Amsterdam. And
And the good message which I can add to that sorry,
oh no, just go ahead.
can I add something, Bart?
Sure. Yeah, I'm done.
I'm also saying that in the message when we launched, when we launched this podcast, we're giving away 2 free tickets entry. Podcast is doing that, so that as soon as this comes live, the first two people that send me a direct message that they want to use, they want to come and use a free ticket. Um, they'll get it through me, and then I hope to see them um, at Beers and Bots.
So the ones that
Um,
listened all the way 90 minutes to the very end
yeah, but I also added in
will
don't
be
worry, I added in the
they will
post.
be rewarded.
That's don't worry,
I
there will be.
understand.
There's 2 people will be rewarded, and then hopefully we'll see them
Yeah,
there.
that's a nice
Um,
gesture.
thank you, Barend. I want to thank you for this podcast, for being here, and of course we're going to meet up on Thursday.
Yes,
Um, and I think in the future we'll speak again because our field is developing so fast. There's so much new stuff coming out, and so many new initiatives. I heard from Wouter Slichter, who was also on the podcast. He's doing Botpreneurs Asia. I
yeah,
talked to him on the Friday. It's amazing.
really
You guys are expanding, so my compliments. And there's a lot of chatbot developers in Asia, a lot in India. There's a lot, but apparently in Vietnam and in other
exactly.
in
And
that
then we are
area, there's
also
more.
a bit closer to Australia and New Zealand. But,
Well,
yeah,
that wasn't my first thought, but there's a lot happening all over the world, and I think that combined knowledge, um, that's what botpreneurs and you guys are all about. But that's also what we're all about: sharing knowledge
exactly.
and getting making bots better.
Pushing
And
things to the next level.
that's it, taking things to the next level. It's a good way of concluding this. And Barend, if someone is looking for you, wants to contact you, what do they do? Where do they go?
Oh, you best go to LinkedIn and just type my first name, Barend.
Barend, and then
And I'm
to be
pretty
safe,
sure I will pop up.
yeah, Jungerius with Jung.
Yeah, you
Okay,
have no idea how
cool.
many times I had to spell that in my life. Yeah,
Don't worry
they
about it. We'll put
they
it
will find me.
in the post so people can read it. They will find you.
Cool,
And well, if
awesome.
someone is looking for the podcast, you can look on YouTube and listen to it on Spotify or on podcasters. And with that note, I would want to thank you, Barend.